Shalom does certain things in the world, all well aware of how the Rebbeinu Shalom is involved every single step of our lives. Just sometimes the HaKadosh Baruch Hu allows us to feel it a little bit more. Just yesterday I had a meeting, and I met for the second time or more maybe Chashav Yid Rabbi Yossi Life in Shlita, and he says you don't understand why you're here today. You have to meet this tzaddik. It didn't work out to meet the tzaddik yesterday, but Baruch Hashem, he was able to work out. Was it yesterday? We did it yesterday. So Baruch Hashem, we have the ability. Because Baruch Hu's Mesabev Sivis, you could have a Yid from New York to Bnei Brak, back here to, was the Rebbe ever in the Five Towns? Maybe once. Coming all the way to the Five Towns to address us. So it's Hashem, if you could give all your full attention. It's a schos gadol, and we hope it's a little bit of a birchas cotton over here. Rabbi should be zeiche to be mashpia alfei alofim to the Torah avoda, and mashpia only for the Torah.
I just want to ask an apology for my mistakes in English. It's about 10 years that I'm barely speaking English. Probably almost nothing, or Yiddish or Hebrew. But Baruch Hashem, I saw that the whole outreach of Mevakshe Hashem started in Eretz Yisrael, and it came to America. It was like Ibchem Estavle, like it. Should have been the opposite. It should have been that I would start here, my native land, and then go there. But Hashem made it the opposite. So maybe it's because Avir Eretz Yisrael Machkim. After first the Avir Eretz Yisrael, you have to bring the Eretz Yisrael to America. That's the tachlis. Kol mi shedar Eretz Yisrael doim k'mi sheyesh lo elika hadar b'chitz luetz doim mi she'ain elika. Baal Shem Tov has three letters that he wrote to Gershon Kitteler, his shvuger, his brother-in-law. And he says that a Dar Eretz Yisrael doesn't mean physically somebody that lives in Eretz Yisrael. A person can stand in Tel Aviv with an Israeli flag and sing Atikva, and he can be in the Gehenim from the Gehenim, the Shol Tachtis. And he can be in America, and he can be davening and learning, and he can be Mamash in Eretz Yisrael. Because the Baal Shem Tov told us that Ba'ash Machshavte Shel Udon Shom Hi Kiloi. Where your Machshav is, you're over there. That's why we have to be so careful with the Machshavah. People think that they can fool the whole world. I can come with a big package, a nice package, a nice hat, a nice shtrammel. But if my Machshavah is in Manhattan, so I'm in Manhattan, it's not going to help. No Chitzonius, no big Gemara, no Rashba is going to help me to get my Machshavah out of Manhattan until I decide that I want to change my Machshavahs to Machshavahs of Torah and of Yeshamayim. So if a person's Machshavah is in Eretz Yisrael, if his Machshavah is in Torah and Yis Hashem, then it looks like somebody that has a God. He's somebody that's living with Hashem. So he's Hadar b'chitzlotz. If his head is in chitzlotz, even if he's sitting in Eretz Yisrael, it looks like he doesn't have a God. It's only a doime. That's the doime kimi. Doime kimi. Why is that doime? Should say Dar b'Eretz Yisrael yesh eloka. Dar b'chitzlotz ein eloka. Doime kimi, because he's not really there. His machshava is over there. Where your machshava is, that's where you are. The person has to think, always make a cheshbon on nefesh at the end of the day. Where's my machshava? Where's my she'ifa? Where do I want to go to? What am I aspiring? If I'm looking to be to have a Yiddish atzlacha, have a atzlacha in Torah, atzlacha that has in that atzlacha Torah values, or if my dream, my vision is a goyish dream, a dream of vanity and of all types of mistakes. So I'm going to tell a little bit of my story. I'm just going to give you a little bit of an idea what's going on in my life right now, and we're going to go from the middle and we're going to go focus out, just like the Mishnah does. Chazal take one small nekuda in Kilayim and something else, and then you have a version that expands and expands, so you can see the whole picture. But you have to start from the Aleph base when you say this. The Metzias now is, I'm a Rebbe in Bnei Brak, I have about 100 Chassidim, I have a big Kehila, I have Chassidim in Ashdod, in Yerushalayim, in Bnei Brak, in in all types of cities in Eretz Yisrael. Most of them are Chassidish from birth.
Lawrence, New York.
Lawrence. Joseph. Yeah, he's number one. Joseph is number one. I should have started in Lawrence. Lawrence, and also in Bnei Brak, and also in Yishleim, also in Ashdod, also in Baalpak, and Williamsburg. But in almost every city, I have about 10 galat that are Shayach to Mevak Hashem. In Williamsburg, a group, I have a group in Shiur. And this is a that's it's not an Indian of being my Hasidim or my. It doesn't have to do with me. It's just about being aware of Hashem and being mischazik together in Avodas Hashem, which is very important in this generation, because the Rebbe Meilich from the Zhensk said that before Mashiach is going to come, Hashem is going to take a big rope and he's going to shackle it. He's going very strongly, and whoever is going to hold on very strong, not going to fall, he's going to be able to be Mekabel Pnei Mashiach. And if somebody, Chas Hashem, is going to be weak, he's not going to be ready to take on the challenge that Hashem gave him, which is mistama, something that he can do, because Hashem doesn't give us challenge that somebody cannot overcome. So then he's not going to, Chas Hashem, not going to be zoichel. We have to be very strong in this generation. Even Chassidish people, even people that are born Chassidish, have to have a lot of shmir and a lot of siyata d'shemayim. We have to sit together and be mischazik together once a week, in every place, nothing to do with Mevak Hashem. This is the tikkun of this door. That's what the Vision has said. The Heilige Vision has said that before Mashiach is going to come, there's going to be a terrible darkness on the world. The whole world is going to be dark. He meant probably the internet. And if a person wants to be in darkness in 2 minutes, if he chooses to, in a second, without even thinking, he can be in the worst place in the world. And his Heilige Mamish in Sholtacht. And how is he going to get out? He says, we're going to talk about tzaddikim, we're going to talk about masses of the Baal Shem Tov, we're going to talk about, and that's going to, this that Yidden are going to sit together and speak about tzaddikim and the masses of the tzaddikim. He said, even of the Tishon bank, even of the tables and chairs that were in the B'tim Midrashim of the big tzaddikim, the Heilige Vision, the Shon Shachna, Mefalvich, all the big tzaddikim, even to talk about the tables and chairs, the Apteruv, just talking about the tables and chairs, the holy tables and chairs that were in the Vesmedish, that's already going to be a segula to be saved from the nisyonis that are going to be before Bias HaMashiach. We are no doubt in the last door before Ikvis of the Mashiach. The Zohar says that it's going to be a big confusion in the world, and now we have a chance to open our eyes and to be a little bit closer to Hashem. If you ask anybody in Bnei Brak, who is this the Mevak Hashem, he's going to say, oh, that's the Nanish Rebbe's son. Or he's going to say, oh, he's some boy, American boy that grew up by the Nanish Rebbe. Who are his parents? Where does he come from? I don't know. I have no idea. Nobody usually asks these questions because they think if I speak such a good Yiddish, I probably grew up by the Nanish Rebbe since I was 6 or 7, not 15 or 16. But the mass is very different, and it's hard to believe. But the evidence is that Hashem can do anything, and this is what Hashem is, and that's it. We have to believe it. It's the Metzias. It's just to show us that Hashem can do anything if He wants to. If He wants to bring somebody to something, to some madrega, to some inyan, to some zach, to some tafkid, to some tachlis. So if He wants you to get there, if you're going to go with Him, He'll take you there. You just have to be masking that Hashem should. Hashem should, David Hashem Roi Lo Yachzer. David HaMelech says, Hashem is my Roya, He's my shepherd. Lo Yachzer. I'm not going to be missing anything. If you're going to let Hashem take you, if you're going to go after Him, so then you'll be okay. My background, I'm a Manhattan boy from the Upper East Side. My father's a traditional Israeli, like half Sephardi. Even though I'm calling today, my name is Lissau because I grew up by the Nanish Rebbe. His name is Lissau. But that was really, the whole Lissauer thing was about going to Eretz Yisrael. I was going to learn Eretz Yisrael and going to Chassidish Yeshiva, so why should I be Elbaz, as far as your name? Everyone's going to ask me questions, and the whole interrogation. Who are you? Where are you coming from? What are you doing at Chassidish Yeshiva? I spoke a perfect Yiddish. There was no reason somebody should believe that I'm not his son. So I said, I'm his son. My name is Lissau. The Gemara says, if you learn your friend's son Torah, it's like you're his father. And then even more, the Rambam says that in Hilchos Kibbutz Avleim, that so he has to be poides rabbi before Aviv. Why? He said the same thing if it's his father is a doctor, said in the corona, a joke, that the doctors, maybe they hire him a boss, you have to be the doctor more. They took everyone to him, put him on a respirator and took him to him, 1, 2, 3. But everything is Hashem, it's a joke. But the kids are, Ruve said, Mr. Dichse, Rabbe. So the kids are, so the Sache is like, when I was about 4 years old, I went to Parky's day school for the preschool. Used to sing I Love Shabbat, whatever. And then that was it. And of course, my bris, there was an Orthodox rabbi, a regular moyel. And I grew up in a traditional home. My father used to make Kiddush every Friday night, put on Israeli music. Mother would light candles. But he didn't know so much. My lineage is a very big lineage. I'm a Einikel of the same Zaydis of the Baba Sali. The Baba Sali is Abu Chatzir. And the first Abu Chatzir was of Shmuel Elbaz, who came to Morocco on a carpet. He rode on a carpet on the water. And that's why they called him Abu Chatzira. Abu Chatzira means Abu, father, Chatzira of the carpet. That's what it means in Arabic. So the same Zaydis that Abu Chatzira has, I have also. We share the same Zaydis, the same Nichas. And my father grew up in Israel to Moroccan parents, immigrants, and his father was half religious, his mother was fully religious. And then the Shomer HaTorah, the kibbutz people, the kibbutznikim came and they took all of the kids to the kibbutz. So my father became a yosem at a young age. And he went to a kibbutz in Mesilot, next to Beit Shan. It's a secular kibbutz. So my father really, even though his mother was Shomer Shabbos and everything, but he was he grew up in Ashkenazi kibbutz, secular in Gansen. So his influences are very, very secular influences, secular values, very, very removed from Yiddishkeit, even though it's traditional, because Yom Kippur, Kodesh HaKadoshim, don't eat, don't drink, no lights, you keep in Yom Tiv. But besides for that, that's one day that we do tshuva for everything that we do the whole year, and then we start a new cheshbon. We have a new credit card, an open credit card to do whatever we want. That's how I grew up. My father talked. He didn't. I have to give him more credit. He didn't bring in any chazefleish or something. Mamish not. He didn't look at the ksherim because he didn't know. My father was such a amaretz. He didn't understand that there's a difference between beef with a hechsher and beef without a hechsher. He once heard from his goyish friend that at the lower part of the cow, that's more kosher meat. The high part, I don't know what. There's some all because of the gid hanoshe, whatever. So he started buying from different parts of the cow. He was very tmimizdik. But when I started becoming religious, when I was 12 years old, there was a debate between my parents. Until then, I went to public school. They said they wanted to know if they should send me to a Jewish private school or a Goyish private school. They wanted me to be in private school because they want me to have a good education. They had money. Now, they don't have so much money that they used to have. But I grew up in a upper middle class home. They wanted to send me to a private school. So they knew with a scholarship they would be able to afford it, no problem. I was a bright kid. They took me to Trevor Day School. Trevor Day School is in Manhattan, a preppy private school, and they wanted me to have me, and Parky's Day School also wanted to have me. Parky's gave a bigger scholarship, and they also learned Hebrew. My father wanted me to learn Hebrew. He had a dream that I would grow up and go to the army and speak Hebrew. I'd eat falafel standing up on the streets. That was like his dream, So that it was miskayim in another tzif, in another way, more rochnis. I became a soldier for Hashem. I eat gala with kishke at the tish, sitting down. It's a little bit different, but it's pretty much the same direction. So the kids, I ended up going to Parky's Day School. And when I got there, I was always searching for Hashem. Even when I was very little, I was always spiritual. I was always thinking about. I always said that I remember I have a diary from when I was a little kid, when I was about 6 years old. In the diary, it says whenever I think about forever, so I get I go crazy. I lose my mind. How could it be? I was always thinking, and that's best to what David Melech says. When I see your Shemaim, Maset V'Seichel, the work of your hands, I see the moon and the stars that you put in place. So then I remind myself, what is a person? What is a person that you should mention him at all? Well, how do you relate to people if you're so great, if you're so high, if you're so holy, if you're so big? And that's a big payler that Hashem relates to us, low people that we eat and we drink and we do gashmiistic things. And Hashem is only Rachnias and He made the whole universe. And this whole entire universe is just focused on a few human beings that are zoiche to understand that there's a higher being. So, all of the galaxies, after the Milky Way, after what is there? What is? It's forever. It doesn't end. That's what the Torah calls Ein Sof Borichi, Hashem. Ein Sof Borichi. He doesn't end. That's Hashem, and that made me understand for sure that there has to be something. It can't be that nobody's. So I started speaking to this thing. I didn't know what to call him. I know it was God. I didn't know if he was associated with the Torah or not, but I knew there was a God, and I started talking to him. It's about this. I don't know. I once talked to some big tzaddik, one of the Vision Tzaddik who was living in Manhattan, Shlomo Hager. A tzaddik nister, interesting guy, huge Talmud Chochem. Used to go to Stockers on Shabbos. Daven and Paki Synagogue. He's an very interesting guy. Like huge, tremendous Talmud Chochem. I don't know if he's still alive. I hope so. But I have to be mevar. But he told me there's no explanation for your story, only schasabis. It has to be that some zaydis, and it's really true. My grandmother told me recently that she was always crying to Hashem. She should be zoicha to Heinekol, that's keeping Torah mitzvahs, because she has so many Heinekol. She has maybe about more than 150, 200, 300 tzatzoim. I don't know how Heinekol and Ir Heinekol, great grandchildren. Nobody should Torah mitzvahs besides me. So it's some maybe tefillas of my baba. I don't know where these machshavas. When I think back, it's so against the teva. I should have been something totally different. I should have been today in the East Village playing guitar and whatever. There was no. I would never have thought that this would be my where I would go to my desk. Never thought that this would be my tafkid. Not in my wildest dreams until I was 13 years old, for sure not. So we see that really these machshavas are not stam. There's such thing as chisovus. Sometimes the others are not maskim. I have a lot of such stories in Hitzlo. It's also with all types of bochrim that I met that have chisovus, and they were in very different situations, and I convinced them to be more serious, and they became big chashuva people, chashuva bochrim, chashuva galat. If a person has obvious that are putting him in a certain direction, so then that's the answer to all of these machshavas that are going into his head. The Baal Shem Tov says, the Gemara says that b'chol yom bas kol yotzes machezes shiva bunim shevuvim, shiva bunim shevuvim chitz me'acher. That's what made acher. The HaTorah has the whole Torah. Why? When acher heard chutz me'acher, he thought like, oh, me not? I'm not included because I became a kofer, because I became an atheist. So then I'm mamish going to be atheist. I'm going to do whatever I want. So the HaTorah says it doesn't mean chitz me'acher. He brings the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov says that this bas koil is the Hirei Yeshiva that we have. The Hirei Yeshiva that everyone has every day. These Hihirim that a person has in his head, this is the bas koil. The bas koil is putting machshavas into your head to be a better yid, to be more ehrlich, to be more holy, to be more Torah related, to be more in davening. These small machshavas that you have once in a while, on a Shabbos, when you're singing at the table, you have some machshava, maybe I should be a better yid, maybe I should be closer to Hashem. This is the bas koil. And the HaTorah tells us, the we saw in the Nikitim at the end, on Yemaya Lutzim Achiva, he says that, he's talking about Yemaya Lutzim Achiva, talking about Elo. He says that people think that this bas koil is something automatic. It's not true. It's not an automatic beep. Not everybody is zoicha to feel it. Only somebody that's connected to Hashem can feel it. But if a person is disconnecting himself forcibly from Hashem, so then he's how do you say it? He's being he's closing himself. He's separating. He's locking himself up. He's locking himself up, and he's not able to feel this. He's not able to hear this, to understand this baskol. So, Acher, because he was so far from Hashem, because he was separating himself from Hashem the whole time with all of his averis and all of his tavis, so he couldn't hear this baskol. So that's why the baskol told him chitz ma'acher, because he was a big neshama, so he technically could hear it, but lemaisa Hashem was telling him, not you. I didn't mean you, because you're not supposed to be hearing this. And when you're going to do tshuva, then you're going to hear it for real. Then you're going to feel the lechtigkeit of Hashem. So when I got into this school, I started making 1 plus 1. We were davening every day. We were benching after we ate. We were learning Mishnayos, Gemara. When I was 12 years old, I didn't know Aleph Beis. I started learning Aleph Beis. What my kid is learning in Chayder, Kumetz Aleph U, Kumetz Beis Bu, maybe different. Kamatz Aleph A, like in the Vrit. But I was learning Mishnah Kodesh. I was starting to daven in the art school siddur on the English side. And I was saying, like, I understood. I said, this makes sense. I understood that I was choker all of the religions and all the things. I was a bright kid. I would read a lot about Christianity, about Islam, so that everything comes from Yiddishkeit. So I said, why don't I look at my backyard? So I started looking at Yiddishkeit, started learning very seriously. Anyone can ask the Rebbeim in Park East Day School, Asher Elbaz, that little kid, how did the davening look by him? How did the learning look by him? I think that almost in secular studies, it did nothing interested me. I got good grades because I would like to be polite to my teachers, but the only thing that interested me was Torah, davening and Torah. And I got a pair of tzitzis and I put on tzitzis, but I knew that my father was a little bit hostile to these types of things. So when he would come pick me up from the day schools, I would take off my tzitzis. And I remember when I was 12 years old, Rabbi Arthur Schneier, the rabbi of Park East, he's a Holocaust survivor. It looks like he saw in me something. He saw this coming, this future. And Sat Meruf said that any Holocaust survivor that's Hashem Etayah Mitzvahs, you can give him a kvittel. You can take a bracha from him. I go almost my Rebbitzins, Babbe, is also a Holocaust survivor. They're a catch of a Chassidim, few days, and I go for brachas a lot by year. It works pretty good. I see that it's working. When I'm over here, I see that her brachas are working. So, I was very interested in Yiddishkeit. So Rabbi Schneier took me away. He had some Catholic bishop visiting the school. It's a whole shaila in halach if you're allowed to bring them in, like Yeshiva or not. I'm not getting into this debate, but the Maisa, that's what happened. He was coming in and he was in the school, and he was visiting, he was walking around, and he said, he called me over randomly, nothing's random, he's a protest. Hashem made me stand there at that time, and he called me over and he said, you see this boy? And he said, yeah. He said, this is Asher Elbaz. He said, he is our favorite student, and he told me, Asher, I want you to promise me something right now. I said, what do you want me to promise? I just want to take a tangent. Since I was 3, I was playing guitar, and when I was 6, I started learning guitar with a teacher, and when I was 12, when I went into Parky's day school, almost 11, I was a year before going into Juilliard pre-college for music. My passion was music. I was practicing 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day. I was almost a child prodigy, something like that. And I was composing my own things and whatever. I was very into music. Music was my whole passion. That was my whole dream, to be a musician, professional musician. And it reminds me of the story of Vosner's mother. That Vosner's mother was a very nice singer. And I think it was a Maya Shapira. The Maya Shapira gave the master. Yeah. And Maya Shapira she went to Maya Shapira and she asked him a bracha, and he asked her what she does. She was for a European woman, she looked very modern, and she said that she sings. She wants to be an opera singer. So he said, "Be misgaba on your tab and don't do it. Live a Torah lifestyle and have a Torah to go home and be at tzedekis, and don't sing. Besides for your husband alone at the Shabbos table. And because that, you're going to have a son that's going to enlighten the entire world." And that was Rav Ozner. And when I need a Yeshua, I live right next to the tzin of Rav Ozner. I feel a magnetic connection to Rav Ozner. I made Siyata D'Shmaya, I had Yidden that had terrible Metzovim, Choilim, Sakanis Nefashis, operations, people that had the Parnassus stuck. I had somebody that Schoira stuck in China. He couldn't make any business. He was afraid that he was going to lose all of his Nechasim. I went to Rav Ozner, 1, 2, 3, a little bit of Yechudim, a little bit of Tfilis. Everything was taken care of. It's a big Yeshiva to Rav Ozner. Probably because we have a similar. The Maisa, this was a Shmir Alevi Rav Ozner, was Pesach Adar, Tzadik Adar, and the Pesach Adar, I was lucky to see him once when I was learning B'nai Brak. He said a Shiur on Bikas Kehanim, Hilchas Bikas Kehanim. 100 years old. Slidus Hadas, clear. My son's Rebbe in Chayder is the Einikel of Rav Ozner. He's a son of the oldest son of the Chaim Ozner, like the oldest Ben Achabem. He's my kid's Rebbe. So, how much time do we have? I don't want to.
Rabbi?
About another 10 minutes.
Another 10 minutes.
We want to give it from
12.
Yeah.
Rabbi Shiur, we're middle grade. Rabbi Shiur's.
Yeah. Because so then I started. I had my bar mitzvah tonight. So then
What was the Avtach you wanted from the?
oh, so he said, promise that you're going to become a rabbi. So I said, whoa, listen, I'd be religious. I'll be maybe I'll keep Shabbos, but be a rabbi. Don't push it. But I was pressured.
Shiur is this?
Yeah.
in front of the priest.
I don't know if he knows me today. I don't know if they told him about me. I just tried to get.
Ooh, Rabbi
Yes,
Shiur?
yeah, he knows.
He's expecting. We're getting in touch.
Yeah,
with
but he
him.
knows how I look today. He knows.
No, I sent this.
I felt like I owed it to him to show him what happened.
We're gonna go meet him over Zoom because he's not in the city right now. He's a very, you know him. He's extremely influential. Whatever.
Anyway, the Maisa, I gave him the promise of what could I do? I had no choice, so I promised him I'd be a rabbi. And that state, that was like a guilty conscience that somewhere down the line I have to do it. Maybe I'll be a guitarist and I'll go into some modern Orthodox rabbinical whatever. I'm gonna do Busa V'Chulav and make the faher and continue with my music. But I knew that I had to do it. So whatever the Maisa, that was that's why I started to think about being more serious about Yiddishkeit, and I would say that was one of the turning points that I really turned my attention, mamish, to Yiddishkeit 100%. And that's how I went. I went to Heschel High School. Heschel High School was another thing. I was in Juilliard pre-college on Saturday on Shabbos, learning classical guitar with all kinds of genius kids. And I wanted to go to LaGuardia High School, which was just next to Juilliard, because LaGuardia had good music. That's what I was thinking. That was my Gashmi, that was my Yitzhak. And my Yitzhak Tov wanted to go to Ramaz. Ramaz is more modern Orthodox, open modern Orthodox, but at least minimal. That at least guys that go to yeshivas from there. And Ramaz didn't take me because I didn't know. Limited Kodesh, I wasn't at a high level enough for Ramaz. And Heschel accepted me. They're a pluralistic Jewish high school. They have a meditation minyan. They have anti-tefillin minyan. They have atheist minyan. They have all kinds of interesting things over there. It's pretty much do whatever you want, enjoy yourself, and don't bother us with your questions. Or you could ask us questions, and we'll make it more complicated for you. That we could do also. was named after Abraham Joshua Heschel, which was also a Rebbe Shaheinikl. His father was a Kapishnitz's Rebbe in the Rhein. He went to the gymnasium, he became modern. I'm not judging him, he went through the Holocaust, okay, everything's fine. So I call it Kapishnitz. I went in the Yeshiva's Kapishnitz. I made a Shabbos a year and a half ago in Lakewood. With a whole Shabbos. It's an amazing thing. I was playing the Arizal on the Arizal's youth site. Today I learned in the Yeshiva from the Kibbulim in Bnei Brak. I learned Kisvei Ari and I daven the Siddur Rashash. Mechaven over the Kavanas. I make Hagos on the Cheskel Binks Siddurim. The same cheder with Gamliel Rabinovich, Shar Shemayim. That's a story from itself. How I got to learn Kabbalah. It was the commander Rebbe of Bnei Brak. He started learning in Chavrusa. I got to Kitzer. Also, Hashem pretty much forced me into it. And I was learning Koil HaTorah. I wanted to finish HaTorah, and he got me out to the Kabbalah. But it's not this whole heebie-jeebie spooky stuff. Yechidim, Aliyas, just like it says in Baal Shem Tov. Shegam b'nai Gili, Yasi, Yechidim v'Aliyas K'mayim. So I was at the Aliyah Kodesh, and somebody was standing next to me, and he said, "Yidam Mavak Hashem." I said, "Maybe." So he told me, "I live in Lakewood. You ever come to Lakewood?" I told him, "Yeah." He said, "If you ever come to Lakewood, maybe you could come. I have a show in Lakewood. I'd like you to make a Shabbos by me. You could make me feel tish. You could do. I'll give you my whole show, whatever you want." So I said, "Okay." So I kept in touch with him. The Meister, he's the Kapishnitz's Rebbe's son, and he has a shul Kapishnitz. So I told him the story. I started off in Kapishnitz. I learned the modern Kapishnitz, but I learned the Kapishnitz. Yeah, they had a Bismedish over there, Gemaras, whatever. When I was about 15 years old, so I got to the Nanish Rebbe in Riverdale, and he gave me the guts. Over there, I was since my Bar Mitzvah, I was very careful. Baruch Hashem, I never did some big averis, and there was girls, no schmutz, no nothing. I was pretty holy because I knew what I wanted for myself. So all these Nashkeit didn't really speak to me, even though Al Pi Derech HaTeva I should have been mamish in the worst places. But Hashem helped me, and every time my friends would talk about Nashkeit, about stupid things, about the internet, about all these, I wouldn't engage in this, and I didn't touch any girls and look at any girls. Very, very. I had a Shmir Yoina. I don't know how to explain it. There's no explanation in nature-wise how this could have happened. But I felt like Hashem was put something on my eyes, and he was holding me in his hands like this, like, "You're my esig. Don't get a fleck. Don't fall down." And that's how I went to high school. And the Nanish Rebbe gave me the guts. He works with these types of teenagers, and I saw they come from half secular homes and secular homes, and they want to go to yeshivas. And he gave me the guts to stand against my parents and to demand to go to yeshiva. When I was 15 years old, I left Juilliard. I left this music school, and I started speaking Shabbos fully. Even though when I was in Juilliard, I also had all kinds of formulas not to do Amalukah Deraisa, all types of tricks. But
your parents kept Shabbos with you?
No, my parents secular, traditional, very common secular.
How did you do Shabbos then?
So I decided I'm going to keep Shabbos. I don't care what they're going to say. The Nanish Rebbe told me that I have to be assertive, so I'm going to be assertive. Really, I left Juilliard before I got to the Nanish Rebbe. That's not true. I decided I'm going to keep Shabbos fully. I decided my father could beat me up and do whatever he wants. I'm going to keep Shabbos no matter what. After I was keeping Shabbos for a year, I got to the Nanish Rebbe. Because I have so many memories, it's getting a little confused in the sequence. I got to the Nanish Rebbe, and the Nanish Rebbe gave me the guts to get out of there and go to Yeshiva fully. And I ended up going to somebody I have in Yom Strauss in Lakewood. He has an organization, Or Nasim, that puts bochrim into yeshivas. And I came myself. The Nanish Rebbe didn't get me connected to him. Somebody else, somebody posing on the Upper West Side, that got me connected with him. I came with a backpack, with a casquette, like I don't know how you say it, these caps. Not a baseball cap, but like the French people got.
A beret.
A beret, something, yeah. And I was holding with a couple under it because I had to have two coverings. There was a chassidische bucher, and I had an English art scroll Megillah Gemara, and I got into him, and he told me, okay, let's open the Gemara, let's see, Tonei Abunan, let's see what you know. and he was like, you know, you have a very low level of learning. Know a little bit. I knew what Mike Mashmalon means, but I didn't know on a yeshivish level to learn. I knew from high school, from Talmud class, level 2, whatever. So he took me to Pezansky, with Moshe Pezansky, and Moshe Pezansky was like, you know, I'm not accepting him. Leave me alone. But this is not Rav Shalom Arush Yeshiva leBalei Tshuva in Rehov Chagai Yerushalayim. This is Moshe Pezansky. This is affiliated with Bismash Gevoya. This is like, you know, serious. He doesn't fit in here. So he said, you're gonna take him. I don't care what you say. And if not, I'm gonna, you know, stress it in, whatever. He made him take me, and I went to Yeshiva. He spent $10,000 that year to have chavrisas. I came into the first year. I was 16 years old. I had a small beard, like, and I came into a Shiur of, you know, bar mitzvah boys. I felt like a Yeshiva, Chayde. And at that year, I worked. So I was learning for 12 hours a day. I wasn't even by Nasdarim. I had a chavrisa by Nasdarim. We learned Chagiga, by Nasdarim, another Masechta, and in Yeshiva we learned Kedisha. Later we learned Novin Basra, and I was fully didn't sleep in the middle of the day, didn't do anything. I barely ate. I used to daven long and eat the shirayim that was saved from the breakfast, from the lunch, and just sitting and learning like Elizabeth Harkness. Elizabeth Harkness also ran away to Yeshiva when he was about 18, and the Gemara says that he would eat chatzatz. The Mishnah Davis mentions him. He would eat pedals. Pedals. Stones and sand. There's some disorder. It's called pakika.
Yeah, that they eat stones.
They eat stones
rocks.
and rocks. That's what he was eating.
It's YouTube.
So, so B'kitzer, I was there, and I was going in yeshiva, and I got into my shiur. I got into Shiur Aleph Yeshiva Gedolah successfully in 1 year, and I had learning skills. I learned Gemara, and I know how to handle a toisus. I could say a toisus bal peh, and I know how to handle a rashba and a ritva, and it was mamash siyata d'shmaya that I was there, and the Reb Chaim. And I ended up going to Hasidic Yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael because that was more my. Moshe Pezansky told me himself, you know, you're learning the Siva Shalom, you're learning Tanya, you're learning all these Hasidic Yeshiva and Musa Seder, you know. I think it's better for you Hasidic Yeshiva. And I went to Hasidic Yeshiva in Eretz Yisrael, Chazan Nuchem. It's Kalal Hasidic. And that's why I started calling myself Lissauer officially, because the Nash Rebbe told me, you know, if you're going to go Elbaz, you're going to have all these questions and whatever. Why does nobody needs to know that your parents are secular? I'm your father, and anyway, you're growing up by me, and you're my son. And he gave me I used to daven in the shul and Nanish. I used to say Shalishidus Torah there on Shabbos in Bnei Brak. And I was like the little Rav in the shul, and everyone knew that I was not Yeshiva Islam. I mean, all the people in the shul knew not that it's not true. They knew that I was growing up by him, but in yeshiva, all my friends, nobody knew where I came from. And I ended up getting engaged to my best friend's wife, my best friend Chavrisa Bavemi Veig. His father's the Menal Saliger Chayde Menai Brak. He got married to somebody Fixler, and I spoke in the Sheva Bruches, and my Shver thought that I was the Nanish Rebbe's son. I spoke a fluent Yiddish, said a whole drasha with Agodas and Chazal and Medushim and whole zach about the Indian of Sheva Bruches and whatever. And they were interested in me, and then he learned. My Shver learned with the Nanish Rav and Seret Chayde together when they were kids in the same class, in the same kid, in the same age. My Shver's a little bit of an older guy. And then they found out that I'm not really a son, and really my name is Elbaz, and it was a little bit controversial, but they decided that they still wanted to see me, and I flew to Eretz Yisrael after coming home for Yom Tif to Israel. I went back to Eretz Yisrael for the Shidduch, And there was says in my Yeshiva, I met with my Rebbe for an hour, and then another time for 2 hours. I went to my Rebbe, Psender Erlanger, Zechayin Levucha, and he asked me, he said she doesn't have any problem, she doesn't have any, there's no disorders and nothing, you know, Chassidish family, and with a Yichis, Taz, and Bach, and Baba the Kodesh, and where does he come to? Why does he want to take it? That's the first time I told Psender my true story. Psender also didn't know. Psender was my Rebbe, he was the Mashpia in Yeshiva, I would go to his Chabur every week. He thought that I was a Nanish Rebbe's son. So, whatever, he told me this is the Yeshivik Min Shemaim, and you should take it. And I became a Chusen, and I got married in Bnei Brak. After my wedding, I started looking around this. I saw that there were a lot of bochrim that needed chizik, and because I understand the nefesh of a bochrim from everything that I went through, it was natural. Even as a koheling man, I was learning in Kamana in the morning and the afternoon, Shulchan Aruch, Ge'in, Torah, Shulchan Aruch, Sugyas, until the Haluch L'Maaseh. So I started being Mekad these boys, and I started making a Shiur at my Shuvah's house Thursday night, children, some kigel, some on the Pasha, the Meilich, the Chaim Kodesh, a bit of Chizik, some Niginim. And this expanded, this became like a magnet. And I started having a following, and the bochrim were like coming non-stop, and they were demanding Leil Shabbos to sit together and Shalashidis to sit together. After Psender Erlanger became not healthy, and at the end he passed away, they couldn't talk to him, so I looked for another tzaddik. So, tzaddik Emes. And I used to go to the Lelev Rebbe when I was a bochrim in Yeshiva. He used to come Shavavim. He had a shul in Rabbi Akiva. He's Meilich Biderman's older brother. David Lelev in Barapak, Lelev Rebbe Barapak. And I used to go to his tishin, but I used to look at him and I used to see that it's like, you know, he's not here. He's talking to Malachim, he's busy with Neshamas, he's busy with whatever. In the middle of Kiddush, he's like whispering all kinds of things. So this is not, you know, you can't talk to him at all. You don't even try. And there was Bashkocha Prat, somebody at my chasana that had a chasana of his cousin, and he heard that there's some boy from Manhattan who's getting married. There's a big Rebbe chasana over here, and all the Rebbes in Bnei Brak are coming and whatever. And you're never going to tell that he comes from where he comes from. You have to come here and you have to see it. And he came to the chasana, and he was a Lelev Chusev, and he became my friend after the chasana. He told the Lelev Rebbe that me and the Lelev Rebbe wanted to talk to me, and that's how I got to the Lelev Rebbe. And the Lelev Rebbe became my Rebbe. So at the end, the Lelev Rebbe told me that this is my tafkid, and I have to open a shul, and I should be a Rebbe, and I have to be a Rebbe of these bochrim that are lost, and they don't have where to go to, and I have to guide them, and I have to help them. And he also when I started learning Kabbalah, he told me that I should be learning a lot of Gemara, but I have to know Kabbalah also. And I'm already learning for that 4 years. Yeshiva from Woodmere in Bnei Brak, with people that are probably double my age or triple my age, and that's it. And that's where I am today. And I'm learning with bochrim every day, before koil and after koil for free. I have about 10 bochrim that learn with me chavrusa every day for free, 10 minutes of bochrim, because their parents don't have money to pay for somebody to worry for them or for a special yeshiva. And they're learning by me in Bismanish also, and then Shiur in Bismanish a whole week. And I'm holding a big Bismanish, probably a little bit bigger than this room. And every Friday night, there are between 20 and 100 people by the tish. In the winter, there are 100, in the summer, there are 30, 40, coming and going. And Shalashidis have 30 people that are coming, and Thursday night, there are another 30 guys. And the whole week, I have to do with hundreds of people in that. So, and when there's a big tish like Chanukah, Purim, Lag Boimer, I have maybe 100 or 200 people with parenches, the whole zach. And the whole HaTorah, the whole thing is not that people should be my Hasidim and should listen to me. Just they should hear Hashem. Tonight is going to be the Yurtzeit of the Rebbe of Shiur and the Moshe from Kerestir. Reb Shiur was also a Hoizbucher that became a Rebbe. He was also a Shamish. Oh, Reb Shiur, right?
Oh wow!
See, so he was the Hoizbucher of the Persian Lisker. And David is going to give out my Ketches and my Torahs and whatever.
If anyone wants a bracha, everyone should. Rather.
But I just wanted to finish
Oh,
with
sorry.
Shiur. He was a Hoizbucher and he ended up becoming a Rebbe himself. He wasn't a Rebbe Shainikul, he wasn't anything but the Peshla Lisker. When he was a kid, they already saw miracles. When he was a Gabbin, he used to give bread for the Aniyim, and the bread kept on, the sack kept on filling itself up. It didn't end. So he said, look how my Shiur is. He's distributing the bread. It never ends. And Mordechai and Advena made him a Rebbe, just like the Rebbe Havda made me a Rebbe, and he went to Kerestin and became a Rebbe and was mechazik a lot of people. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm being mechazik Yidden and trying to connect Yidden to Hashem. And whoever needs anything, Be'ez Hashem could be in touch. We have to be in touch with the Yeshiva and get in touch with the Soul, also the telephone. And I hope that everyone here is going to take from this something special, and everyone's going to be a choshev Torah personality. Maybe somebody's going to be in real estate, somebody else is going to be working in financing, somebody else is going to be learning a whole day, somebody else is going to be a poisik or a rav or a tzaddik. But everyone's going to have a future in Torah and in Yiras Hashem and in Ahavas Hashem. I'm going to feel the sweetness and the light of the Torah always.
If everyone could just go up to the point of bracha,
Shake the rough
head
hand.
upstairs please for lunch. 10th grade has a special surprise.
What's our special?
Everyone make a line.
Do you like the speech? So, how was it? I feel so lightheaded right now.
Yeah, you hungry? Me too.
Yeah, pretty.
Gotta get a baby.
Feel that Hashem is always with you. God don't know when He's saying this. Big time. Everything.
10th grade, please go upstairs for the surprise.
What's the surprise?
It's a surprise.